All right, y'all know what it is. It's your boy D Starks.
Starks the artist.
And you're tuned in to the Just Different podcast, where we talk everything faith, life, and culture.
Yep.
Let's tap.
Let's go.
Let's get into it. Let's go. What? EP 1 of the year?
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
I forgot.
Yes, sir.
It's crazy. First of the year, man.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, actually.
You great?
I'm feeling great. How you feeling?
Blessed and highly favored?
Indeed.
No, man. We actually just got back. A lot of you have already seen it, and we talked about it on our live Tuesday. We just got back from a conference that we were at in Atlanta this past weekend, Passion. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, God moved.
He really did.
God really moved. It was like one of those experiences. For those who have been to like any conference of that size, or even if you've been to like a concert of some worship group, you're sitting there, particularly when you're worshiping, you're like, yo, this is what heaven feels like.
You just, especially when you just take a moment to just listen to all the voices. That's what I do. I like when I'm in the moments, I like to just be silent and listen to just all the people just lifting God's name up. It's crazy.
No, of course, it was powerful. And then, of course, shout out to everyone we were able to meet while we were there. It was insane. Like, as soon as we had stepped out the car, we had a few people that had like came up to us like, yo, like, listen to the podcast and all that good stuff. So that was like, obviously,
I forgot about that. It was right out the car.
Like that was a surreal moment. And then, being able to connect with other guys, got a picture with you all. It's like much love for real. That was such a good experience. Obviously we'll have some time where we can like, either sit down, have more moments to like talk with you all, but it was still amazing to be able to meet everybody. So thank you so much for reaching out, hitting us up. Again, much love always.
Real talk, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a really good experience. Shout out to Jonathan Diggins, man, Eric, all of them. We were able to connect with a lot of people that we have built relationships with over the past few months, like online. So being able to see them in person and like just like have that connection, that communion and fellowship. Let me tell you, it will make or break you. Let me tell you.
Real talk. It's always good to just be around like-minded people.
Always good.
Mm-hmm. So I'm feeling good, bro.
100%. So great experience.
Recharged.
And so let's tap in.
Let's go. So
per usual. So let's get into it. But actually, the first thing I want to mention, and I mentioned this Tuesday when we were on live, but this is something that I had saw and I'm really running with this year. But it's the fact that it's not your year, it's God's.
Okay.
It's not your year, it's God's. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be the best year of your life, but only if it's your best year spiritually. Right? And we mentioned this a while ago, but I saw a post or it was a tweet, and it said, I saw a dangerous thing, a generation who loves the fruit but hates the tree. But Jesus said, I am the vine. So the fruit you bear this year is going to be directly predicated on what you are connected to.
What are you rooted in?
Who is your source?
Yeah.
It's going to be the culture, your will, your plan,
others' will,
your desire, your peers, your family. Or are you going to let God be the source?
You choose.
The fruit you bear this year is going to be predicated upon what you are connected to. It's going to be the best year.
It is.
But are you going to lean on him? His understanding.
Yeah.
Not your own.
Yeah.
And I also think about this. We always talk about, Romans 8:28, and we know that in all things, God works for the good of works it out for the good.
Exactly.
But for who? We don't like to finish that verse.
What's the who? Yeah, what's the talk to us?
We don't like to finish that verse. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. So it may not be working out for your good because you went out and tried to make good for yourself. It may not be coming full circle. The promise of God may not be coming to you because you went out and tried to make it good for yourself instead of just walking in this purpose, staying connected to him, being rooted in the vine.
Yeah.
So
your purpose or his?
That's all it comes down to. And I want to mention this verse as well. John 15:5, and it says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. But apart from me, you can do nothing.
I like that one's powerful.
Will you remain in him this year? Because apart from him, nah, fam.
Can't.
Not at all. So yeah, I wanted to start it off and mention that. And also, I said this as well in the last EP, but I just want to keep reiterating this because this is something that God dropped in my heart. But again, it's going to be the best year of your life. I believe that for everyone. It can be the best year of your life. No, like, prosperity gospel, I mentioned before. None of that, like, just saying it to say it. But seriously, it's only going to happen if you're willing to pay for it. It's going to come at a cost.
It is.
Guys, that's what God's been showing me. It's more of a transaction.
Give and take.
You can have it, but you got to be willing to give something in return.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna require something of yourself. So you just got to keep that back in your mind. But no, yeah. So basically, what we're gonna be talking about in this EP is everything concerning like goals, setting goals for the year, and learning how to dream with God.
Yeah.
Learning how to dream with God, what that means and what that looks like in terms of how you're setting your year, and even like not even your year when it comes down to like setting goals for like your week, your future, and what's coming up in your life. We want to talk more about that and like, you know, what that looks like and all that good stuff.
Yeah, to be completely honest with y'all, I've been kind of like lackluster in terms of like setting goals. Even like my brother kind of had to get on me like, yo, like you gotta set your goals, right? And I think that's something I feel like I've always struggled with. So like, what's some tips, bro, like for people who are out there struggling with like?
I mean, the first thing that I was even going to mention is the first thing that I was even going to mention is the fact that it won't happen by accident. If there's anything you take away from this, what I want everybody to know is it's not going to happen by accident.
Exactly.
The Bible says in Habakkuk 2:2 that you have to write the vision, write it down, and make it plain. I'm a firm believer of when you know where you're going, you know what roads won't take you there.
That's good.
So a lot of our issue isn't a lack of discipline, but direction. It's not the fact that you don't have enough time. You just don't know what to do with it.
That's good.
So you have to set a barometer for where you're going so you know what to do and what not to do. How to structure my days, the people I need to be surrounded by, the people I need to listen to, the hobbies I need to involve myself in, what I need to study, what I need to read.
Exactly.
But they can only come if I have proper direction.
Exactly.
If I have a proper destination to navigate different roads I need to take, different paths that are tailored toward me and the purpose God has for my life. And so that's what I'm going to say. It's like, it won't happen by accident. And that's what we mentioned in the live Tuesday, even with like reading your Bible and setting small goals. You have to set intentional time aside in your day, in your week, throughout your months to get to what you're believing God for and what you want out of this year. You have to be intentional about it. It will not happen by accident.
Yeah, and even talking back on that subject of like you need to have that direction to know where you're going, obviously. I think for me, and some advice I give to people, like, don't get too caught up on the final destination. Because I feel like God isn't going to always give you every little detail and every little, you know, crook and cranny of, like, the plan that he has for your life. Sometimes I think God will reveal it as you walk out. So even if you feel like you don't have all the information, write the goals down based on the limited information you have now, and God will reveal more to you as you go on. Yeah.
No, yeah, and I think that's so good because you have to. I think a lot of times, now I've caught myself in this, is the fact that we'll be in seasons of our life where we'll be like, oh, well, I know God has a purpose for my life.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned this before, but we know he has a purpose, but we never actually partner with his plan.
Yeah.
And yes, the things he has for you, so it's a part of his will, but it will only manifest if you come into agreement with the plan.
Exactly.
So we're really lackluster, and we just get, we take for granted our purpose.
Yeah.
And the will we know God established for our life, and we postpone it. We just put it away. Oh, well, I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to come. As if it's just going to just haphazardly just come into our laps, and we don't have to do any work. But that's not the case. Like, we have to take action and partner with God, right, for his plan to manifest in our life, right? Yeah. We've seen it throughout the entire Bible.
Exactly.
Right? Moses, called by God, He's literally giving him the directions and the purpose of like, yo, this I want you to go and free my people from Egypt and bring them out. And he's like, well, God, I don't know. Like, I'm not worthy enough. I can't do this X, Y, and Z. I can't even speak. He's like, well, who do I say I even come to them as? And it's like, yo, you tell them that I am brought you. He literally lays out the directions, the step-by-step instructions. He gives them what's going to happen and what he wants him to do and accomplish. But nothing happens until Moses actually takes the step.
Exactly.
Nothing actually manifests unless Moses actually goes into Egypt, steps to Pharaoh, and does what God called him to do. So it all comes back to partnering with God. Yes, I understand the purpose, but have you come in agreement with the plan?
Yeah. I think it really comes down to sometimes you even need to recreate what the definition of your relationship with God is, because you understand, like you're saying, like it's a partnership. Like you guys are partnering together. And I've been there's a scripture I came across in Deuteronomy 15:10. It says, "Give generously to them and do so without a grudging heart. Then because of this, the Lord your God will bless you in all your work and in everything you put your hand to." So right here it's even saying like God will only bless what you put your hand to. So if you're not putting your hands to anything, then God, it's not that he can't move on anything, but he won't. You have to give him something to work with. Just we're speaking on talking like it's not going to fall in your lap.
That's big fact.
It says that straight here in Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
Same Bible we're reading.
No, that's the word. Yeah. And even our dad said this. We had like a family meeting like not too long ago. And it's real simple, but it stuck with me. And he says that favor still requires work.
That's tough. It's simple, but tough.
It's so simple. Favor still requires work. So yes, the favor of God may be on your life and his blessings and his promises, but it's still going to require some work on your end at the end of the day. And that's what it comes down to. So yeah, that's what I would say in terms of
I think it's like
goals for the year. No, go ahead.
And just speaking back on like the favor still requires work, I think it's like a thing like you don't work on what God's favor creates for you. God's favor will work on what you create. So it's like that first step is on you.
Say that again, though.
It's like you don't work on what God's favor creates for you. God's favor will work on what you create. So the first step is on you. Like, what are you creating that the favor can breathe on?
I like that.
That first step is on you. Favor requires work.
No, that's a bar. Yeah. See, that's what I would say. Just being intentional and understanding that's not going to happen by accident. Like you have to set a plan and be intentional and not just feel like it's going to lay or just come into like your lap. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you got anything goals wise, like?
Oh, in terms of my goals for the year?
No.
Or like tips for goals.
Yeah.
Some advice for people out there. Even for me, I feel like I haven't always been the most task oriented person, and I would use that as like an excuse to like not say goals. Like, I just struggle with that. Like, I'm not the most task oriented person, but I had to realize like, am I going to rest in how I feel or what I know? Because like I feel like I'm not the most task oriented person, but I know that I need to have these goals to get to the destination.
No, facts.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not some goals. That's some advice I have people out there. If you feel like you're not as task oriented, you still got to set those goals regardless. Yeah,
because I mean, if you don't, you're not going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
It's just not going to happen. I think a part of what I usually get on you about and what you always say to me is I think it was always like I think it would be like I would come to you and it would be like more or less, hey, yo, what's your goals? Like, are you working toward anything? What are you doing with the music? What are you doing with the platform? Yeah. What are you X, Y, and Z? And you're just like, man, I don't really know. I'm just kind of letting God do what God does. I'm just following his plan. But you still didn't have any steps walking toward what you knew God was calling you to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
so. It's just like God's will. It'll happen.
Yeah, and I think even for me, that was just the lack of understanding. Like, that's why I feel like this topic we're talking on right now is so important, because I didn't understand. And honestly, I halfway understand now, like, that favor still requires work. Like, you still have to have goals and you still have to set these things. Because I feel like I've always had strong faith, and I think sometimes that led to my downfall in a way. Because, like, I had so much faith, it was like, man, it's going to happen.
Right.
To the point where, like, we were talking about, like, oh, it's going to fall on my lap. Like, I believe in you, God. Like it was just going to happen. So I think that was the mindset that I was even living from. Not
a strong misconception. Probably a lot of people even have. I know I had for a while too, though. Yeah. For real. It's just kind of like one of those things you kind of grow up in. And I also think that a part of it is, it's also a balance. And so sometimes I had a struggle setting goals because I never wanted my dream to interfere with God's will.
That's good.
I never wanted my dream to interfere with God's will. So that's what that's what I mean when I mentioned earlier, learning how to dream with God. So setting these goals in the direction, he's taking you, but still not allowing these goals to take the throne over what he wants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think finding that balance, even in the goals that you set, for the year, or you're setting for what you're wanting out of your life, is just making sure that you are having a direction you're walking toward, but also allowing God to wreck your plans.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started.
I don't know why that just came to me, bro.
That's good. That's
good. You have steps you're walking in, a direction you're going toward, goals you written down, you have the vision board, but still allowing flexibility in your life for God to say, not that way.
And you have to be willing to change direction.
Nah, not that city.
Nah. Okay, I'll move.
I know you wanted that position, but not that job.
Okay, I'll resign.
Yeah, I know you thought they was the one, but not that relationship.
I'll pack them up. I'll block their number.
Then you blocking them?
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
And that's it. So even in this process, you also have to understand, you have to allow and be willing for God to wreck your plans and submit to that. And that's a part of it. And I think that's what I've had to learn as well. Dreaming with God is, setting these goals, setting these steps, but also moving in that flexibility of where God may take you that you didn't necessarily expect. And that's also a major part of this. So when we're talking about, writing the vision and making it plain, of course, writing down like prophetic words you may have gotten or things that God has shown you specifically, but the path along the way that you may think it may look like, allowing yourself to submit to the changes that God has. And so, going back to my original point, I had an issue with setting goals because it was like, okay, God, is this in your will? Because I didn't want to ever get in the form of idolatry of my plans becoming higher than him, but there's a balance. I think you can, as long as your heart is in the right place, right, and you're going in a direction that is, biblical, that's righteous, that's glorifying him and moving you closer toward him, then write those plans, set those goals, and then, if there is a change that comes in the direction God wants you to move in, dream with him.
Exactly.
Dream with him. So I wanted to mention that because I thought that was good.
Yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it, I don't mean to piggyback too much, but I was thinking about how we were talking about how I used to live through the mindset of it's gonna fall in my lap type of thing. I have faith in God. Whatever he does, whatever he's gonna do. And I think a part of that stemmed from the thought of people tend to confuse the fact that their salvation is free and assume that their blessings are too.
Say it again, bro. Hold on. Is your mic on? Is your mic on?
Yo, 1 2 1 2 1 2.
I think because people tend to confuse the fact that their salvation is free and assume that their blessings are too. But you have to understand that your salvation is for heaven, not for earth. And I think that's what I was doing. I was confusing my salvation is free. That means all things are working together. You know what I mean? And I was confusing the two, not realizing that. Like I said, the salvation is for earth, but the salvation is for heaven. Sorry, salvation is heaven. So what about on earth? So it's important not to confuse the two. Because your salvation is free, but you got to work for the favor or the blessings type of thing.
No, facts. And there's also a verse that speaks about that. It's how if you're faithful over a few things, I will make you ruler over many. And I just want to mention that because what we're saying we have receipts for, and it is biblical, is the fact that yes, your salvation's free. That's for heaven. But for God to advance you in different levels of responsibility in your purpose and what he's called you to, you have to be faithful over the few things he has for you.
Exactly.
And then he's going to make you ruler over many. And that's for every season, right? So what is that? What are we talking about? It's how that's not going to just come free.
Yeah.
That's what we mean by that. So, I want a business.
Yeah.
I want to be a millionaire. I want more money to bless other people.
You're not even managing the minimum wage well.
You can't even stop spending on Gucci, on Prada. Come on now.
You can't even stop eating food, going out to eat every day.
You talking to yourself.
I'm talking to myself. God convicted me.
But yes, and that's what I mean. The principle still stands is the fact that your salvation's free, but it doesn't mean that your advancement in different areas of life on earth are.
Exactly. It's important not to confuse the two.
You know what I mean? And there are different times where God's just going to provide favor to your life that doesn't have any understanding, doesn't make sense, and that you didn't deserve or are worthy for. But there are other times that he is calling you up to more discipline, to more responsibility, and being faithful where you're at now, because it won't happen by accident.
It will not.
Not at all. Yeah, and then even practically in terms of like writing down and like literally setting goals, you got any advice for that? Like actually like literally like not step by step, but you know.
Oh, like when I'm like literally going to set goals.
Yeah, the process of that.
I think you shouldn't sell yourself or God short. So you need to set a goal that scares you. And I think you might have even touched on that on the episode before. Like if it doesn't scare you, the dream ain't big enough. And
it's not of God.
It's not of God. Do not underestimate him. So when you're going down to set your goals, write something that scares you. It looks scary. Like, you might have to question it. Be like, dang, like, can that happen?
Facts. And me and Jordan had to do that when we were setting the goals for this podcast, what we wanted for the year. There were some like numbers and things we had to change. It was like, yo, that's too achievable.
Yeah.
I feel too comfortable right there. We feel too comfortable right there. So let's move this up a little bit, you know? And what I mean by that, when I say if it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough, and it's also not of God, because I mentioned this before. God's never going to call you to something that you can do without him.
Yep.
So if it's achievable and you can do it in your own strength, why do you need his grace?
Yep.
Why do you need his favor?
Yep.
Why do you need his blessings?
Yep.
Right? So that's what we mean by that, is that he's never going to call you to something that you can do without him. Read the Bible. Every person he's called, they have an assignment that was way larger than their current resources and personal capacity. So they needed to lean on him, because at the end of the day, because whenever you get there, you can only point to God.
That's the whole point.
That's why it has to be bigger than you, because you get there and you're like, no, it was all him. I couldn't get to this platform. I couldn't get to these awards. I couldn't get to this influence, to this business, these connections, if it wasn't for God. So it's not of him if it doesn't scare you.
You will not get the glory from something that's easy. That's good. I like that.
And and I would also say, in terms of that, is really first, like, one thing is like finding a quiet place. If we're getting like real kind of like in detail, finding a quiet place that you can start writing your goals in. For the year, if you haven't already, find a quiet place, set some time aside, and just be intentional that way. And also, what I saw that I was really good when I was doing some study on this is review previous prophetic words, goals, and prayers that God has fulfilled. Right? Go back and review your history with him, what he has already completed, what he's done in your life, and what does that do? That increases your faith. Right, so you feel more comfortable writing those things down that may scare you, that may be above your own strength, because you know in the past, well, God brought me through this. God fulfilled that. God still elevated me to this level that I couldn't have done by myself, and so now I have more confidence to lean on him and dream with him in this season. So I would say that, like, review what God has already done in your life, you know, because that testimony is obviously a proof of what he has done and what he will continue to do in your life, because it obviously it increases your faith. But yeah, and also when you're thinking about it, different categories too. So like, if you have a goal, you have goals for like your personal life, your spiritual life, and then maybe your business or your ministry, or if you're doing music, or if you're in school, like. Putting them in categories always helps as well. Just so you have accountability in every area of your life, so it's easier to manage and keep track of whenever you're looking back on your year or you're making progress through different months. Exactly. And also, speaking on accountability, say it out loud. Say it out loud, one to yourself, God. So pray over these things, and also to people you trust that you know are going to hold you accountable throughout the year. and want the best for you, that want to see you succeed, and also those who have faith that can believe with God for you, even when you probably don't believe in yourself. Those moments where you're feeling like, I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't know how this is gonna work. They're the ones that are gonna keep you on track and keep pushing you toward what they know you are and what God has called over your life.
You need that.
So I would say that, yes, definitely reminding yourself of his history, putting them into categories, having that accountability, and also, which I know a lot of you have probably heard before, but setting action to your plans. So practical tips. So if I want to start a YouTube channel, for example, write the practical steps. Okay, I need to get a thumbnail. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Like I need to get a thumbnail for my videos. I need to get a YouTube header. I need to get a logo. I need to record my first video. I need a camera. Set practical little steps that are going to lead you to that goal. And put timestamps on them, right? So like by January 20th, I want this to be done. Or like, in 3 months, I want to make sure that this is prepared and done for. So setting action plans and steps to the goals you do have. So it's just not something that's in the air.
Yeah, I
right?
think that's actually a good point you bring up, and it's ironic. I was just watching this video, Pastor Keon. He was talking about how Duke did this study, right, on two groups of people trying to lose weight, right? One group ended up losing weight, the other group ended up gaining weight, and the only difference between the two is that the people who gained weight were looking at the end goal. They were looking at how much weight they needed to lose. The people who ended up losing weight were the ones who were taking it day by day. They were looking at their daily calorie intake. So they were doing the little steps. When you look at the end goal, it looks a lot more unachievable.
Facts.
So you got to take it day by day. So I think that was a really good point that he brought up when I was watching this video.
No, 100%. And I'm glad you brought that up, because another thing is, and I wanted to mention this, is the fact that in some of your goals, you want these things to become a part of who you are, not just something that you do. So you have to focus on these becoming habits. So it's like, okay, it's not about necessarily, okay, I want to exercise more. I want to become a person who works out. I don't just want to eat better. I want to have a lifestyle of healthy eating. I just don't want to pray and read every day this month. I want to be a person who is continually working and engaging with my relationship with God. So not just focusing on, these being tasks you check off, but a lifestyle that you step into. So I want to mention that as well. And, you're asking, okay, that sounds good, but how does that happen? Like Jordan just said, it's that day by day intake and accountability you're holding yourself to. Yeah. So it's not just about, I've done this for a month. It's like, I want to continue to do this. Exactly. This is just a part of what I do. Exactly. It's not just something, I check off. It's a person I have now become. So looking at that too in your goals, that these are just, these are habits you're trying to form for a lifestyle that you want to walk out. That's kind of the approach that I'm taking this year. So even for me, so there's some goals I didn't write down because they're not goals anymore. They're a part of my lifestyle. Yeah, exactly, so there should be some goals you write down this year that you don't put on your list next year.
That's good. I like that.
Right? Because it's no longer a goal I'm achieving. It's a person I become. So, like, it's a regular part of my routine and who I am. I can't go a day without reading my word, without praying. I can't go, a few days without working out. Or I can't go a few days without, or I can't go a week and not be, eating right, or, having a diet that's not good or healthy or whatever that looks like for you. So I also want to mention that making these things a part of what you are, not just things that you do.
Dang, that's good.
So I wanted to mention that as well. But you got anything else for the people?
I just want to let y'all know I'm gonna go rewrite my goals right after this episode. If y'all got something from it, I got something from it too. To be honest, I'm gonna go rewrite mine right after this.
No, facts. And I want to mention this, and it's just kind of off topic, but
let's talk about it though. Let's talk about it.
No, for sure. I want to mention it really quick. Yeah. We were on a call last night with the group of people that we met up with at Passion, and John the Saint, or Jonathan Diggins. He has said something, and it wrecked all of us, and I wanted to mention here, but
I already know what you're talking about. That was tough.
So I want to say this: salvation wasn't free. It cost Jesus his life. Now he's asking for yours. But when you're thinking about your life, your day to day, and your relationship with Him, you have to ask yourself, is God getting what He paid for?
Oh, I'm about to run a lap. I'm going to run a lap.
If you're really examining yourself, your day to day, and really the rest of the year, ask yourself, is God getting what He paid for? He paid with a cross, and oftentimes we're just handing Him scraps.
Oh my gosh.
He paid with His only begotten Son, but we usually leave Him on the back burner. He gave it all. The one who knew no sin became sin for us, yet we won't even obey Him. We won't give Him our week. He can have our Sunday, but our Mondays,
so good,
iffy. Our Tuesday maybe, our Wednesday, but He gave the ultimate price. So I just wonder, is He getting what He paid for?
Getting what He paid for
out of me, out of my life, out of my obedience.
That's been ringing in my head all day.
So I don't know. I just want to leave y'all with that, like, for today and the rest of this year, and really the rest of your life.
Yeah.
He gave everything, but is He getting what He paid for?
Imagine you go pay for Ruth Chris. You open up your box and they give you some White Castle. You gonna be heated. Come on. Is God getting what He paid for?
Because salvation wasn't free.
Because at the end of the day,
it cost Him His life.
I don't want to waste the lamb. At the end of the day, bro, when I'm on my deathbed, I want to be able to say, I did not waste His death. Did not waste His life.
Don't waste the blood.
That thing's heavy, man.
Is He getting what He paid for? See, I just want to leave y'all with that. I also want to ask y'all a question, because I asked this on live, but I want to know, and we're going to probably do like a little poll and ask people y'all goals and stuff, but if you were to give a title to this chapter in your life, what would it be? So drop it in the comments. Let us know. I mean, dang, we're running over because we were supposed to explain it. I totally forgot. We'll probably talk about it next EP or whatever. What's yours? What's your title, real quick?
The Middle Child.
The Middle Child. That's kind of fire. I don't know what it means, but it's kind of fire.
I'm saying it's tough, bro.
Honestly, I ain't got one for y'all, so we'll talk about it next EP. But drop that for us, yeah, bro. You got anything else? You gonna leave them with something for that?
I think we left him off on a good note, bro. Is God getting what He paid for?
It's going to be your best year, but it's going to cost something.
It is.
Just like salvation costs God. So, yeah, y'all know what it is. Stay you, stay real, and stay humble. We'll catch y'all next week. Much love.